And now, his view, an editorial opinion by Bill Martin.
Somebody came up to me recently and said, "You must really hate Trump." And I asked why. And he said, "Because most of your editorials are about him." Well, I have to admit that I do focus on him more than any other topic these days, but I don't hate him. I hate what he's doing. Donald Trump is a deeply disturbed individual, and if he would open up to a therapist, he might find the source of his brokenness. He might even find a way to do some good before his time comes to an end. In the meantime, I see his time in office as the greatest threat to mankind, and I feel compelled to speak out. He suffers with a detachment from reality, and he has the power to do massive harm, and he has only just begun. With each step he takes, or better put, with each swing of his presidential axe, another institution falls, another partnership dissolves, another alliance fails, and then it gets worse. Not only does he attack other countries, he attacks his own, and another neighborhood is destroyed, another household disintegrates, or another hope is crushed. It's not the first time our world has faced a greedy megalomaniac, and it won't be the last. We have seen this often throughout history, and each time justice prevailed. Sure, many were lost and many more suffered, but every time evil reared its ugly head, goodness rallied and goodness prevailed. What is happening today, led by Donald Trump, of course, has happened before. A man was infected by the lust for power. Given a little taste, he wanted more, and emboldened by weak response by those around him, ultimately, he wanted it all. History also showed us that empires came and went, that kingdoms rose and fell. There was always a leader waiting in the wings, and people waiting to display their courage. Then, when the time was right, goodness rose from the ashes and asserted its universal power. That goodness rests in the hearts and minds of people who understand truth, people who will unite in the cause of justice, in the cause of peace. Regrettably, it is a slow process, but it is an unstoppable process, as justice has always prevailed. It just takes its own sweet time. Citizens of the United States are not united today. They are floundering. Some live in fear of Trump, while others see him for what he truly is, but they don't know what to do. Opinions are divided on a response, and those divisions have ripped the country's political structure apart. Worse, the division has impacted families and relationships, and a divided opposition to greed and evil is no opposition at all. I am so grateful to live in Canada. We have lived next door to that great elephant for centuries, and we have never let it roll over us, and I trust we never will. I'm proud of Canada's response. We have been bold enough to speak truth to power. We are bold enough to resist. While the U.S. Republican Party acceded to Trump's every demand, while the U.S. electorate succumbed to his promissory rhetoric, and while the world stood by with mouths open wide in shock, Canadians are standing by the 49th parallel, resolutely declaring, "Not on our soil." Sure, we're outnumbered, we're outgunned. We have always been that way, but that never stopped us from standing up for justice. We have always stood against the bullies of the world. We have always contributed more than our fair share when it came to facing evil. While this time it is an enemy emerging from close to home, let me remind you, that the last time we had to fight America, we burned down their White House. I'm not suggesting such war this time. I'm just saying we have a history of being the little country that could. At least, that's my view. I'm Bill Martin.